What's up, everybody? Welcome to Florida Hood Blogs. One of my favorite subjects ever, real estate. Let's talk about making some money in the state of Florida. Little disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a realtor. This is just my opinion. So this is just what I think. I'm not a professional real estate. I'm not an investment guy. I've never made money in real estate. If anything, I've actually lost money in real estate. And I hope that I've learned something from those losses. And I can teach you guys a little bit of what I've learned the hard way. So with that little disclaimer out the way, we're going to talk about the top 10 best places to put your money in real estate in Florida. I don't think there's going to be huge profits made in Florida in real estate in the future, but there's places that are better and there's places that are worse. And I don't promote, advertise, try to get people to invest in the real estate. But if that's something you're into, these are the places in Florida where you want to put your money. Sometimes real estate is not the way you think. I know that because I've learned firsthand. I've made some huge mistakes. Real estate does not work the way you think. The places where the biggest dollars are made are not the places where you'd think they are. So if you have a prejudice against an area like I did, I could have invested in Spring Hill and I could have invested in Lehigh Acres. I had money at the right time and I didn't invest it in the right places because I was afraid. I had a prejudice, and because of that I put my money in Naples, Florida, which was the biggest mistake ever. I had always heard somebody say that you want to buy the smallest house in the nicest neighborhood. Well, I bought the smallest house in the nicest neighborhood and it was a huge mistake. Don't ever be afraid to invest. You can't be afraid. The biggest dollars are made in the places where people least expect it. If it's predictable, then everybody would figure it out, right? So we could look at this video 3 years from now and we'll know if I was right or if I was wrong. And if I was wrong, hey, I'm not surprised at all because, like I said, this is just my opinion. And my opinion on real estate has been wrong in the past. Let's get into this. The top 10 best places to invest in Florida. And we're going to have one of our fictitious characters from the channel help us with naming these towns. Are you guys ready? We're going to introduce Ricky. Ricky, what is number 10? Yo, number 10. Coming straight from Ricky, the boss. Number 10 is Beverly Hills. And we talk about Beverly Hills, Florida. We ain't talking about Beverly Hills, California. Number 10 best places to invest yo moolah, baby, is in Beverly Hills, Florida. Located in Citrus County in the good old MIA. Whoa, Ricky, slow down. It's not in Miami. It's not nowhere near Miami. What are you talking about? Yes. One of the best things about real estate, if you're investing, one of the things you really got to focus on is getting a good deal. Bang for your buck. If you're looking for bang for your buck, it's hard to find another place like Beverly Hills. Now, I have the notion that huge profits are not going to be made in Florida in real estate moving forward. I think prices are going to stay at about the same. Things are just going to stay about the same. I don't really see a huge increase in the value of real estate in Florida because there's so much land in Florida. Yes, there's a lot of people moving here, but a lot of the communities we're going to look at are communities that have a massive percentage of empty lots. There's a lot of space in Florida, and with all that space, there's potential to build a lot. I think Beverly Hills is one of those places where you're going to get bang for your buck. The town has a horrible reputation on the internet, and most people moving into Florida are using the internet. I've been there in person. I've talked to people that live there, and it's not as bad as it's portrayed on the internet. The real estate deals there are amazing, and I think it's changing for the better. If you're looking to invest in Florida, now, I really think that the profits are made in two main areas. Under $160,000, from Cape Coral to Port St. Lucie, most of the affordable areas in Florida, for about $170,000. You can get a really nice house, not brand new, but almost new. And in the more affordable regions of Florida, you can get a brand new house built between $140,000 to $170,000, depending on county codes, regulations, and stuff like that. So I think the profits are made underneath that number. Also, I think the profits are made in the $1.5 to $2 million range, or the $1.2 to $2 million, just to be fair. I don't think in the middle, over $170,000 to $350,000, $400,000. I think that range is a really tough range to make a profit moving forward in the state of Florida. Now, as you're investing money into real estate, what are you doing? Who are the buyers, and what do the buyers want? That is what's going to determine which areas in Florida are going to have the most growth. So ask yourself, if you are a potential buyer, what do you want? Are you moving into Florida from another state? I think that's going to be the biggest group of buyers in the future. I really don't think that people living in Florida that are renting are going to join the buyers anytime soon, because they're spending all their money at CarMax and Starbucks. They're not going to spend their money on a down payment for a house. The economy here doesn't really allow a lot of opportunity. I think a lot of the buyers are going to be coming out of California, coming out of New York, coming out of other places. Those are going to be the buyers, or people who are retiring early, whatever. Who are you? Why are you interested in real estate in Florida? If you could comment, that would give everybody watching this video an idea. So if we can know who is going to buy a year from now, 2 years from now, if we know what people are planning and where they're going, then we can better predict which areas are going to be the areas, because it's who is the buyer. That's what's going to determine, and that's where we were wrong about Florida, because there's a huge influx of buyers that took up a lot of properties in Florida, and they weren't who we expected. A younger crowd came to Florida. Families came to Florida, and they came to places where we didn't expect they would come, because it's no longer the old little Italian couple that's coming down from New York. That's not who's buying in Florida anymore. You have to understand who are the new buyers. They're 55-year-old woman from Connecticut. They're different people. They're a 45 to 40-year-old couple with 2 kids coming from Colorado. Who are these buyers? That's what's going to determine where and what markets are going to be the markets where people are going to be buying, and that's really what it comes down to. Number 9 from the boss is Citrus Hills in Orlando. This song right here is for the city I love. Represent for the old town, baby. Yeah, the 813. Yeah, Orlando. We're making that money, baby, like a boss. We go shopping at Rickety Ross. We go shopping at Ross, 'cause I'm a boss. Whoa, slow down, Ricky. That's horrible information. It's not in Orlando, and the area code for Orlando is 407, not 813. So don't listen to Ricky, okay? Anyways, what do you mean? I'm a boss. Okay, just calm down. Relax. Citrus Hills is kind of right near Beverly Hills. Again, Citrus County. A lot of people are looking for comfortable retirement. They want to retire like a boss. Yeah, like a boss. Okay. Look, bro, I hired you just to do the intro of the numbers, not to kind of talk throughout the whole thing. So if you could just chill, relax. Citrus Hills has everything you need if you're looking for retirement. Lots of big properties, really spaced out, really quiet, nice and hilly. It's got everything. In fact, there's Black Diamond, which is a really wealthy community right there. And wherever there's wealthy people, you're going to have really high-end cafes, kind of like Starbucks. They have other brands, not like Starbucks, but they have their own little cafes. Everything that you want to be comfortable. Natural springs, low traffic. Everything's brand new. The Walgreens is new. The coffee shops are new. And there's a lot of small little nice cute little charming towns in the area. It's a great area to retire. It's quiet, it's low crime. You got stuff like Homosassa Springs, the Rainbow River, lots of good stuff, not too far from Orlando. It's a really good area to retire. So if you're looking to retire, a lot of other people are looking to retire, and this is really a great place to do it because of the affordability and that It's no traffic. It's not in a large metro area, but you know, you can drive to stuff. You know, a lot of times people say they have to be in Sarasota or they have to be in Naples because they want to be 5 miles away from everything. Okay, well, you know, it takes me to get to the courthouse in Naples. It takes me like an hour each way. It's only like 9 miles away, but there's so much traffic in winter that it's about a 45 to an hour drive easy to get down to the courthouse in my county. So out there, you might have an hour drive, but it's through some nice country roads. It's a much nicer, relaxing drive. So a lot of people are really looking into areas like this where they're rural. You have everything you need right there, and there's a lot of nice little day trips. So if you're young and you're going to retire early, I think Citrus Hills is a great area. It has its own golf courses. It has some really nice cafes, and also there's a car club in Black Diamond. You'll see some beautiful antique cars. The area's got a lot of Americana, a lot of charm. It's a great area for retirement, so if you're looking to retire, look into Citrus Hills. Okay, Ricky, are you ready for number 8? I can't see it. I don't know what. Oh, number 8 is Spring Hill. Number 8 is like a boss. Pull to Miami. Pull to Spring Hill. We're making money like a boss. Give me a beat. Oh no, bro, I can't do that right now. We're not really. We're just trying to You're just kind of presenting these, so you're not really here to act. Okay, number 8. I should have hired somebody else for this. Number 8 is Spring Hill, Florida. Okay. Wait, why am I presenting when I hired somebody else? Because they're not doing it right. Okay, so number 8 is Spring Hill, Florida. I don't think there's huge profits being made in real estate in Florida. If you're looking to get into a retirement type community, get a nice house for a good price, Spring Hill's a place to do it. I think it's a good place to invest. It's already proven to be a good place to invest. They've already filled in most of the lots, which means that anybody else coming to Spring Hill, there's nowhere else to build. They've built it all up. And, you know, like the whole grid pattern is pretty much filled in at this point, and people are going to keep coming to Spring Hill because there's a lot of New Yorkers and they've heard about Spring Hill. They like it. It's getting better, so Spring Hill is going to continue to improve. And with that improvement, every time I go there, it looks better. It looks more like a city. So Spring Hill is going to be a good place to invest for sure. And a lot of people are looking at moving into Spring Hill, so it's going to continue to attract people. I think Spring Hill is a good place to invest. A lot of people from New York are investing into Spring Hill, and they're going to keep coming. I can guarantee you that. It's one of the areas where most people from New York are thinking about when they think about Florida, so it's going to continue to be an attractive location. So I think it's a good place to invest, especially now that the grid pattern is pretty much filled in. Means there's not going to be a lot more land, so it's going to be prices going up, I think. We saw it with the lots. I think around 2016, 2018, the lots were going for like $3,000 to $4,000 or something like that. Then they hopped all the way up over $12,000. There's areas like Weeki Wachee, Homosassa Springs, the whole area. The lots, you know, really like doubled in price from one year to the next. It's a great area to invest. It's going to continue to be attractive. I think Weeki Wachee is probably going to be the area to watch in the Spring Hill area. So if you're looking at retiring in Florida or you're looking to make an investment in real estate, watch Spring Hill. It's a good place. It's none of these places, by the way, are amazing places to live, okay? Because amazing places to live, they're going to continue to build houses and they're going to increase the population density. And what happens is, like where Naples is at right now, where Naples currently is just turning into Fort Lauderdale, the population density is increasing and it doesn't make for a better place to live. So none of these places, and if you look backtrack a little bit to the places where the biggest profits were made, Lehigh, Spring Hill, Opelika, these are the places where the prices jumped up and people that had bought properties there did really well. They're not exactly the most attractive places to live. The best place, the money isn't moving at the top, it's moving at the bottom. The crunch is at the bottom. The crunch for affordability is at the bottom, and I don't see the state of Florida making huge strides as far as property values increasing unless there's a real crunch for housing. You know, lack of developers, and right now construction is really slow through the entire state of Florida. I just got back from all over Florida, and I saw the areas where most of the construction is going on, and it's kind of coming to a real slow grind right now. So that's not going to happen anytime soon. There just isn't enough construction for that. I do think that the builders now, there's more builders than ever, and the builders are smaller than before. You know, it's not like before with the Vasta build or Deltona, they build these huge, massive developments. I think the only large, interesting things going on right now in Florida are probably like Ave Maria and like Bobcat Ranch. There isn't these huge developments going on throughout the state right now. So with that said, you have to understand that the crunch for affordability is going to happen where in a place like Spring Hill, where they've built up all the lots and now the prices are going to go up a little bit. Is it going to be ridiculous? No, there's still a lot of empty lots out there. So right now, I don't really see that happening. In 2 to 3 years, it's possible if you know, more people keep coming down to Florida. So I do think that Spring Hill's a good place to invest. And we're not talking about great places to live. So as we go through this list, these are not the best places to live in Florida. These are the places where if you buy a property, you can make a little bit of a profit. The other area where people are making really massive profits, I think, is over $1.2 million. And the reason why I think that's a really good place to invest is because after $1.2 million, a 5 to 10% difference in the price, which is not going to be noticeable, even somebody who's giving you a quote on a house, it's, you know, it's hard to draw a line on where those properties are really worth. You know, you're not going to buy a house for $600,000 and then flip it for $800,000 and make a $200,000 profit. There's a distinct difference between a $600,000 house and an $800,000 house. But let's say you get a house for $1.6 million, okay, and a little bit of time passes and you put it on the market for 1.8 and you sell it, or not even like that. A lot of these people just network and they'll find somebody, they'll buy it for 1.6, they'll sell it for 1.8, they'll make a $200,000 profit, even though the property taxes are higher, even though the maintenance of that property is higher. There's still a little bit of profit, and there's taxes in there as well. But you can pick up a house for $2.3 million, you can sell for $2.6 million, right? And that's a $300,000 profit. That's really hard to make in real estate right now. But in that price range, I think under, you know, under $2 million for sure, you know, 1 to 2 million range, you know, especially where there's like beaches, and that's what's giving the property the value, is the proximity to the water. Profits are being made in that price range. So I think it's a good price range to make a profit. Most people buying today are between $260,000 to like $500,000. It's a really crappy price range to try to make a profit. So if you're buying in that price range, you may not lose money. You could make a profit, but it's not a great price range to make a profit. Think about these developments with gated communities. You spend $20,000-$30,000 a year just to keep up with that property. And you got property taxes, so some of these houses, you could, the first $30,000-$40,000 every year are lost. So if you make a $40,000 profit and you've owned the property for 2 years, you're not really making a profit. You're just breaking even. We'll get to more on that area of investing as we move through the list. But Spring Hill, it's a nice range of prices. You know, under $225,000, you can get an amazing large house on a huge lot in the Spring Hill area, or Wekiwachi, somewhere nearby. It's a great little price range to buy in because you can't build those houses. You know, if you're building those houses, it can be hard to find a builder at times, so it's a good range to be in. All right, moving on to number 7. Oh, is he sleeping? Oh, forget about it. Okay, guys, I'm going to have to do this myself. Number 7, Cape Coral. Yeah, it's a good place to invest. Nice big houses. Cape Coral is known for its affordability, and they have some strict regulations on work trucks. They're really trying to keep the regular class people out of there. They want people who are retiring early or something like that. I don't know what they're going for, but Cape Coral is one of those places where you can get a really good deal on a house. A lot of the houses have canals. I think if you can buy on a canal, that's probably the way to go. Now there's like 170,000 people in Cape Coral, making it one of the largest cities in the state of Florida. And with a large city, it's really well laid out. It's a master plan community that's filled in. There are not too many lots left in the city. It has really, really, the further south and the further west you go, the closer you are to the ocean, the more expensive the properties get. There's houses in Cape Coral neighborhoods where the houses are in the $700,000 range. Cheaper areas like way to the north towards Burnt Store and towards North Fort Myers, more affordability. There's a lot of different price ranges. The town's filling in, and it's a really good place to invest, I think. A lot of people are going to continue to move to Cape Coral. Another one of those places where people from New York are really going to there in large numbers. So it's going to continue to grow. The city's nice. It has a really nice downtown center. A lot of times you'll hear on the news that there's bar fights and there's bar brawls and 40 or 50 people were in a bar and they all got into a big fight. There's 170,000 people in Cape Coral, so you're going to hear about stuff like that in the news. That's a lot of people. It's a big city. There's a lot of people there, so stuff's definitely going to happen. A lot of people like to group Cape Coral on par with Lehigh Acres. These people have no idea what they're talking about. There's a massive difference between Cape Coral and Lehigh. Cape Coral doesn't allow work trucks. In Lehigh, people would park a dump truck and 10 boats on their properties. In Cape Coral, if you park a work van with a sign on the side of it, the county comes and tells you have to get rid of it. So they're two totally different places. Cape Coral has access to the Gulf. You know, I recently saw a documentary, more of an interview on Akon. You remember Akon? I'm locked up, they won't let me out. Well, Akon is actually a very, very savvy business person, and he's involved in some really large investments. He helped about, I think something like 80 million people in Africa get access to electricity, and he was saying about how easy it is to do business in Africa. And what he said about Africa was that there's a lot of yellow tape and a lot of regulation and government interference with trying to start businesses in America. In America, it's really hard, and in Africa, you know, they just bring a bag of money and you're paid and you can just do whatever you want. And for places to grow, I think sometimes regulation can really get in the way of progress. I think with Cape Coral, it could have been a much bigger city, but they're trying to purposely keep working class people out. And I think that could be a problem unless there's enough people with that mindset of we don't want working class people here. So again, it comes down to who are the buyers. If the buyers, the people out there spending money, are the type of people who want to have work equipment, stuff like that, or if it's somebody with what Cape Coral is trying to target, people who have 2 cars on the driveway and that's it. So who are the buyers? It's a great question. So later on in the list, we're going to explore a few places where not having those regulations, not having that yellow tape has led to a lot of success. And the Akon example is perfect because he mentions how he's made huge profits in Africa and how he's made more money in rap and in business in Africa simply because of there's no regulation. You know, paper bags full of money, and they don't really keep their money in the bank. They just have money in bags, and that's how they do business. So it's really hard to keep track of money. So a lot of times poor people don't really care. They just spend, and that reckless spending is what made places like Lehigh and Spring Hill and a lot of other areas like Miami get incredibly out of control because people that are poor, they just spend, and real estate is more important to us poor people, especially us Hispanic people. Real estate is really important to us. I know most American people are more into investments in the stock market, IRAs, mutual funds. Those are terms that I don't even know what the words are for those things in Spanish because we don't do it. So, you know, who are going to be the investors? It's a great question because if it's poor people, very unpredictable. So regulation is not a friend of poor people, the way they spend their money. And poor people, look at Opelika, Little Haiti. These are places where incredible growth in real estate. North Miami, incredible growth in real estate, incredible profits being made. And you're talking about places that who would have expected it, you know? And that's why Cape Coral barely made the list. In places like Naples, Bonita Springs, I'm not even going to include those places on this list because overprotected, too much yellow tape, too much regulation. It's not, you know, all the communities in Naples now are private communities. The first $50,000 every single year are a complete loss to property maintenance and stuff like that. So sometimes organization in prosperous areas, blah, 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 That's not where the profits are being made. So, I mean, I don't really know anybody who, as an investor, buys a house in a gated community to try to rent it out. I mean, I don't know too many. Most people in gated communities are homeowners, so they're living it, and it's a luxury, and luxuries are not profits. If you're living $1 million house or $500,000 house in a gated community, that's not a profit. That is a luxury, and luxuries cost money. Nobody makes money in luxuries. Those are usually losses. Number 6 is Marian Oaks. It's a suburb south of Ocala. It's really a place to watch when it comes to real estate for a lot of reasons. Lots of new houses were built there. Another one of those places with a horrible reputation. However, I was just there, and I'm going to be uploading the video in the next few days, so look out for the drive around of Marian Oaks. I really like this community, and again, everything that I heard on the internet, completely incorrect. Again, people with a prejudice, but it's okay. You know why? Because those people who are prejudiced, they're losing out on the profits. Where was the biggest money made? Spring Hill, Lehigh, Opelika. Those are the places where huge profits are being made in real estate. And those people who are prejudiced, they're only hurting themselves because they're investing in all the wrong places. Now, I don't know what the statistics are on population and demographics in Marian Oaks, but I was just there. I know there is a Haitian population. I know there's a large and very fast-growing Puerto Rican population, which is happening all over South Ocala in the Orlando area. Actually, the Puerto Ricans are actually trying to avoid Orlando because it's just a large metro area. Traffic, crime, they're really trying to avoid it, especially the ones that got money. So they're ending up in more rural areas. They're looking for those rural places. Marian Oaks is going to have a large influx of people from Puerto Rico to continue to go there. Also, because that's where the Ocala Latino population is located. Cubans, Puerto Ricans, mostly Haitians, they're all ending up in Marian Oaks. And Jamaicans, there's also a population of African Americans. It's really large. It's a nice area. When you think about Marian Oaks, you might be thinking about the town center, like houses from the 70s and 80s that are old, kind of old out, run-down little neighborhoods. But there's a lot of building going on, and the Google imagery is probably outdated. So unless you actually go there and see how much new stuff's going in, how big these houses are going in, how much of them are going in, it's a really growing place. And a lot of these markets that are really good to get in now, maybe 6 months from now, the prices go up, and then they're not easy to get into anymore. So Marian Oaks and a lot of these places are on the tipping point where they're affordable now, but that doesn't mean if you're watching this video 3 or 4 months from the time I upload it, or a year from the time that I uploaded, this list could be totally different. Right now, I think Marian Oaks has a lot of growth. A lot of people are going there. Large Puerto Rican population, nice new houses, African Americans that are living very well. A lot of times people comment on my channel, and I meet a lot of African Americans who tell me that African American communities are usually poor. That is so wrong. Go to Marian Oaks. It's a really nice community. And if you notice the drive around video that I'm going to upload, just about everybody we saw was African American and maybe a few Haitians. So it's a really nice African American community. Nice houses, beautiful areas. Don't let these prejudices get in the way. A lot of the profits in real estate are made in areas like Opelika, Little Haiti, gentrification. People are trying to move back into the city. So if you have a prejudice, you're afraid to invest in a certain area. Now, that doesn't mean there's places like Fort Myers. It ain't changed in what, 50 years, 40 years? It ain't going to change. I'm not saying you need to invest in bad areas. I'm just saying you need to know if there's houses going in to an area, it's places that are changing. Because some places don't change. Tice neighborhood in Fort Myers, not changing. Fort Myers Shores, not changing. A lot of these neighborhoods just don't change. I'm not saying you should invest into a neighborhood that's poor. Definitely not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is be on the alert for places that are changing. Are they building houses? Marian Oaks, there's a lot of good stuff going on there, and it could be a really good sign for the future of this place. And Southwest Ocala 200 is another one of those main highways, US 41, US 19. These big highways, they get a notoriously bad reputation for homelessness, and you're going to see a lot of it in the area. No lie, it's pretty bad there. It's just like US 19 or US 41. You get the deal. But I will say this, there's a Porsche dealership There's a BMW dealership, there's a Jaguar, Range Rover, there's a mall, all that in Ocala on 200. And you will see a lot of wealthy people in that area, horse country, all that. So there is money in the area. And then there's a lot of land too, so who knows? But I think being able to buy newer houses, newer style of houses for low prices is really important. So that's why I'm definitely putting Marian Oaks on this list, because there are a lot of new houses for really good prices in that area. And what's keeping buyers away is a reputation that, to me, I don't think should affect the real estate prices. Number 5 is the Golden Gate Estates. This community doesn't like me because they don't want this title of anything on my list. They're a bunch of haters, and most of all, they want to keep the Golden Gate Estates a secret. But there's a lot of reasons why that's not going to happen. The first reason is Naples has nowhere else to grow. It's all built in, and the only area where there's empty lots left is the Golden Gate Estates. It's become more attractive to investors. It's become more attractive to people moving to Naples. They've put new roads. They're going to continue to make more roads. Golden Gate Estates is going to become like Naples. It's going to be Naples, basically. There's a lot of empty lots, and a massive percentage of the Golden Gate Estates is still lying vacant as we speak. So if you're looking to invest between $300,000 to $2 million, this is the place. If you're thinking about putting that much money into your real estate investment into one property, it's probably Golden Gate Estates, probably the best place to do it for you. The near side of the estates, the west side, closer to Naples, they are building houses in there like into the, I don't know how much, they got to be in over $1 million, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, just to about $2 million houses are being built, brand new houses. They're not building small houses out there anymore. Everything they're building is big. I think Golden Gate Estates, if you can find the right builder, and I don't know which one it would be, what builder would build this for you for the right price is probably the key term. Build you that house for the right price. It could be a really profitable place to put in a new house. Now, I do know that the building codes in Collier County are horrible. I don't recommend you invest in there if you're not really familiar with the building codes, with builders, all the things that could arise. The lots are going, let's be honest, it's not even the price of the lot. You can buy the lot you can buy an acre of land in the Golden Gate Estates almost to the same price you can get an acre of land in North Florida. The problem isn't the price of the land. So that's why I do think it's a good place to buy lots, for example. If I were buying empty lots, I think it'd probably be a good place to do it. A lot of reasons why, really. It's what happens after you buy that lot. Filling it in, you have to bring it up to a flood regulation height. You have to get rid of the trees. If you have invasive trees like Brazilian pepper, it can be a nightmare. Then there's areas where the lot, you got to know what you're buying. Some of these lots, they don't want you to build on in a certain way. You have the really skinny, long lots, I think, are horrible. You want to get one of the bigger lots. So there are some real specifics that could turn your purchase into a nightmare. So don't exactly think that because it's a good place to invest that it's perfect. There are some real hassles with investing out there. The county requires a lot. The flood code's a problem. The building codes are a problem. The inspectors are a problem. But if you got all that figured out, you know what you're doing, you know what you're getting into, it could be a really good place to put up a new house. And the bigger the better. And I would definitely buy, if you're buying a house that's already built, I would definitely recommend buying a house that is of a newer style. Don't buy like the one we're looking at right now towards the center right there. Those are houses that they've been building since like 2006. You don't want to fall into that style of house. You want the taller ceilings in the inside. You want not the red roofing tiles, the gray ones. You want a house that is up to date because there's so many empty lots in the Golden Gate Estates. The styles are going to keep changing, and as they build, those styles are going to get outdated. So if you're buying a Golden Gate Estates, make sure you're buying the newest, the latest, because that's what the buyers are going to buy. That's what they're going to want. It's incredible that you roll through the Golden Gate Estates and you'll see 4 or 5 old ranches, you know what I mean, like older houses for sale on a street. Nobody wants them. And on that same street, they're building 4 or 5 brand new houses. People aren't buying those old houses. They don't want to touch the old houses. They want the newer style. So make sure if you're investing into Golden Gate Estates that you're aware of what's the newest trend, what's the latest trend, how does this house need to look. Get something new if you're investing in there. So I have had, this community doesn't like me because I say things the way they are, and they don't agree with what I say. They don't like what I say. It could be that the truth hurts. I don't know what it is, but I'm planning to do a parody for this community. I'm going to make a video. It's probably going to be called the best place for New Yorkers to move to in Florida. Yes. I'm going to troll this community so hard because they have a Facebook group called the Golden Gate Estates Neighbors. I'm in, like, you guys know that I got to grow my channel. I have to share on social media. A lot of you guys probably found me on social media. I have to do it. I have to grow this channel. And on social media, this is the most hateful group. I mean, you couldn't find a more... I've been in thousands of Facebook groups over the years as I try to promote my YouTube channels, fishing, pigeons, and then now Florida. So I've been in a lot of Facebook groups. This is absolutely the most hateful group of people on the internet. I'm going to troll them. I'm going to make this video, and I'm pretty sure they're going to kick me out. I don't know who the administrator of this group is, but they still haven't got rid of me. But what you guys expect on the channel, I'm going to drop this troll video of the Golden Gate Estates. It's going to be a parody saying this is where New Yorkers should really move to. If they watch the video, they're just going to, their heads are going to explode, basically. I want to troll them really hard, so... it could catch on as a joke, and any community that messes with Jose could be revenged by Jose, and I could have like 10,000 New Yorkers move to your community. Don't mess with Jose. Let Jose do his work. Let me talk my garbage, because if you mess with Jose, I'm gonna troll them hard. So if you see it, if I decide, I mean, I have the material ready to go. If I decide to do it, expect it on the channel. If you see it, you'll know what it is, and I might actually give it a real serious tone so that if you're watching the video, it's not going to look like a parody. It's going to look like legitly I'm telling people this is the best place to do it. So it's an inside joke between you and I. You're the subscriber who watches my videos. So if I do it, I do it, and if I do it, I might have to delete it. Like, we'll see what happens. So I don't know where it's going to go, but I do want to troll these people because they've earned it. Really, it's a very hateful group. They don't like me telling people the truth. Well, the truth is this. The Golden Gate Estates, 80%, 60% is still vacant. You could be building houses 20 years from now, and that place isn't going to get filled, and it's zoned for residential. So we've determined that we're going to build houses there. People have bought those lots. They're looking for investments. They're going to make money on these lots. So, you know, it's like if you want to live in a rural place, move to North Florida. They're never going to build up there. You're buying next to Naples, you know what's going to happen. It's not a secret. It's going to get built up. Move somewhere where they're not building. Okay, let's get off of Golden Gate and move on to our next best place to invest. And again, with these places, the price point matters. The type of property matters. So when you're looking at this list that I made here, figure out what is the right price point to buy in this community. What is the right type of property to buy in this community? Because I've noticed, for example, in a lot of places, Sebring, Clewiston, a lot of South Central Florida, an entire section of the market will get wiped out. For example, anything under 120 just disappear from Sebring, Clewiston, some parts of like the whole area out there in South Central Florida around Lake Okeechobee. A huge portion of the market disappeared, and it was a market under 120. If you bought in that disappearing market, you did amazing, because now they're going to have to start building houses if more people start moving to that area. So while the houses that are 250 are still 250, there was no change. Another really interesting area to invest, I don't know if it's going to be a good area to invest or not. It's not on this list, but I'll mention it since we're talking about this area. The lakes on Sebring, if Sebring continues to grow, a house on the lake in Sebring, you can get a house for maybe the lot's worth $100,000 more than what it would be worth across the street, but because it's on the lake, it's worth $100,000. There's only so much waterfront property in the Sebring area, so it may be good to snatch up those properties if the area is going to start to grow, which I think it will. So when you go through this list, this is the type of house I'm talking about. You know, it's on a big lot. It's got a three-car garage or something like that. Big giant pool. This is a big house. This is the type of house that is going to start to go into the Golden Gate Estates, and that is the price range and the type of property that I think could be a good investment in that area. In other parts of Florida, that may not be the right investment. Like Miami, for example, maybe it's too much for that market. People are looking for affordability in those markets. So pay attention to what type of property and what price range in each market, because maybe anything under 120 could fly off the market and be really good investment. But then you get to like 250, 300, and there aren't too many buyers in those ranges. So and within one location, different types of properties could be doing totally different things. So tune into that. What, you know, even if you're shopping, let's say you want a $500,000 house, pay attention to what the $100,000 house is doing, because that's going to give you an indication where that market's going. Okay, number 4 is Sarasota West. This is between Port Charlotte and Venice. It's a huge grid pattern. Most of it's empty. It could become really attractive. I think the area is going to grow. Port Charlotte traffic has become like Naples traffic. So Northport, Port Charlotte, there's a lot of growth there. Englewood is a really nice little town, and then you have the islands with beaches. I think what's holding this area back is because it's kind of like on a peninsula. It's really hard to get there if you're traveling there. I think in the future this is one to watch. I think it's gonna be a good place to invest, and we'll see what happens. The area is absolutely beautiful. Nice little towns, lots of retired people, low crime. It's definitely one to watch. By the way, Minnesota Key, very fun spot. I still got to go down to Boca Grande and make a video. It's that loop all the way around the Charlotte Harbor is a nightmare. So it's quite a drive. Like, I can literally drive to Miami before I can drive up there because it's a long loop. Whatever. Keep an eye on this one. Look into this market. See where it's going. Visit the area. I think the locals aren't going to like this town being on this list very much, but it's on the list at number 4, and I definitely think you guys should check it out. Okay, number 3 is Port LaBelle, located just to the east of Lehigh Acres. I've noticed that it's actually easier to drive. It takes less time to drive to Port LaBelle than it does to some parts of Lehigh, even though Lehigh is a lot closer. But there's no traffic on 29. It's a straight shot to LaBelle. It's about an hour and 10-minute drive. In some parts of Lehigh, even though it's much closer, it's an hour 15 because there's more traffic, more construction. I think Port LaBelle has a lot of potential. They're talking about building an airport. It's going to be called Air Everglades, I believe it's what it's going to be called. It's already made the prices in Montour Ranch and Clueston skyrocket, and Port LaBelle is definitely going to benefit greatly from that. It's a beautiful wooded area. If you like fishing, there's a lot of canals. It's done the drainage of the entire community, canals and all that. It's great. It's inland, so there's not too much of a hurricane hazard. It's really a good area. It's a nice, clean area. They don't have the crime of Lehigh Acres. LaBelle's a nice, charming little town. The parts on the north side of LaBelle are kind of rough, and trailer parks on the south are a little bit rough. But Port LaBelle is a clean area. All new houses. Lots of houses are going in. It's a great area to invest. And there are some communities within Port LaBelle that have some regulations and restrictions, deed restrictions and all that. So you can get those houses for like $80,000 or something like that. It's ridiculous. Look into Port LaBelle if you want affordability in Southwest Florida. It may be a great place to invest. It's not on the water. It's not on the beach, but it does have nice rural drives. Great area. Make sure you look into Port LaBelle. Number 2 is Venice. Really nice little town. Now, the town itself is overpriced. I wouldn't buy in Venice itself. What I would recommend, if you want a community with amenities, Naples is out of the question. Sarasota is out of the question. You want a community with amenities. You want the gym. You want the pool. You want the new house. You want to look into the east side of Venice, between Northport and Venice. I think it's called Plantation. There's a bunch of communities in there. They're building huge communities. They're not even, I don't even think they're selling as fast as in Naples or Sarasota. It's a slower market. I think for like 350, I don't know, I'm just guessing, but it's definitely like in the 350, let's say under 400,000 for sure. You can get into a private community, beautiful communities, beautiful lakes with amenities. Brand new. They're not selling too fast. So if you're looking for amenities, you're looking for the gated community, Venice may be the place for you. Traffic is really nice out in that area because it's really well laid out, and you can take a 20-30 minute drive into Venice, where they have an amazing beach, some of the best beaches in Florida, nicest little town center. It's a clean, low crime, great place, Venice. And these communities that they're building just outside of Venice, the price points are right. So if you want the Naples lifestyle, but you can't afford it, you really want to be in that private community, but you want to make sure you're in the right price point, then I would recommend that you invest into Venice. Look into those new communities. Okay, are you guys ready for number one? What I think is the best place to invest, and where I would personally probably invest my money if I can ever get out of Naples at this point. You guys ready for it? I'm going to be honest. I'm going to tell you guys my personal secret. You guys ready for this? I think the best place to invest money in Florida is Citrus Springs. There's a lot of fear. They're afraid that they're going to build low-income Section 8 Habitat for Humanity housing. And a lot of people are panicking. You know, they're trying to get out of that market because they're going to put in Habitat for Humanity. Where there's fear, there's money. And where there's growth, there's money. Real estate is unpredictable, but one thing isn't. Wherever the poor people are, it all starts at the bottom. And if they're going to build Section 8 housing, that's where I want to put my money, because there's going to be growth. There's going to be more people moving into that area. You know, people are terrified. Oh, it's going to become all Section 8. It's going to become all good. Perfect example, Lehigh Acres. People were terrified of Lehigh Acres because of that. I think it's a good place to put your money. I like the area. It's close to the Rainbow River. It's quiet. It's going to remain rural for the most part for a very long time. This community is not going to go anywhere anytime soon, but that's good because they're going to keep building new houses. It's growing at a nice pace. Lots of elderly people. These elderly people are going to pass away. When they pass away, 5 to 7 years, these people start to disappear. A whole new younger, their kids are going to get those properties, or grandkids are going to get those properties. There's going to be an influx. Is it going to make it an area of low crime? Probably not. It's been proven that poor places where regular working class people are is where the money, it's where the profits are made. I mean, we've gone over this in this video. Like, this is where the money is actually made. And Citrus Springs, there's a lot of retired people, but it's not going to be retired people forever. They're talking about expanding those toll roads, which I think is a horrible idea for that region of the state. It's a really bad thing for that region of the state, actually. But when that happens, more people will be able to commute from Citrus County into Tampa or whatever. I think it's horrible, but the change is coming. The change is there, and you just have to plan for it. Would I buy a house in Citrus Springs? Yeah, I would. They're really affordable. You can get a really good deal. Would I buy a $70,000, $80,000 house? I don't know. I would probably, like one of these newer houses, you could probably get it for like less than $160,000. That's a great deal for a new house right now. It's a great place to put your money right now. And right under Citrus Springs, if you want to spend a little bit more money, there's Pine Ridge. The houses there are gigantic. These are really huge houses, and the prices are incredible. I think right now, the way this market is, bang for your buck is really important. I saw what happened in the recession where they've got these houses for $300,000, $400,000 in places that were not desirable. Look at Homestead right now, almost $500,000 for a house in a new community in Homestead. If I had $500,000, I wouldn't want to live in Homestead. I would want to live in Naples or Sarasota, or like on 10 acres in Ocala or something. I would not want to live in Homestead if I was buying a $500,000 house. But I don't know. There's certain things that certain people want, and places like Citrus Springs, certain people are not going to invest into these places, but that's okay. Other people will. The notion that you have to put your money where rich people are putting their money is stupid. They're throwing their money away. They don't care. The fact that they live in communities where you have to pay $50,000 to become a member before you move in, that's a down payment for a poor person to move into a house. We can't do that. So you can't put your money where the rich people are putting their money, because they're going to outprice you. They can do things that you can't. So you have to be realistic. What price point do you need to be on to invest to make money is really important. Not so much the location, but the price point. And I think for most of us, you can get a new house in some of these places for like $170 in some of these places we've mentioned. That same house in Naples is like $500,000. And what's really the difference? Being around other rich people? I don't know. To each their own. I'm just trying to give you guys the best information I can. Hey, let me see what you think. Where would you invest in Florida? Thank you so much for watching. Yo, it's Rickety the Boss. Make sure you subscribe to Florida Hood Blogs. If you want your real estate to grow like my belly after eating some ribs, you gotta listen to Jose talk garbage about Florida. I'm just a little upset because he didn't mention the Port of Miami, the MIA, the 305, Opaloka, because that's where Rickety from. The bottom of the map.